Lewis Hamilton will continue to race for Mercedes in the 2024 Formula 1 season. Of course, that is not yet a fact or a contractual certainty, but the evidence that that is the case is so solid that anything otherwise would require a shock on the scale of Nico Rosberg's abrupt retirement in order for it not to be the truth. Hamilton has made it clear that he will not be joining any other team in the near future. He and Mercedes are also involved in a lot of activities together that go beyond just racing at this point, but there are questions being raised about his future, and that's what we'll be looking at in today's video, so sit tight and let's dive right into it. Now, throughout the year 2022, the 38-year-old indicated many times that he does not feel ready to retire, that he's working harder than ever, and that he does not need to question his motivation. Mercedes is also quite unlikely to kick Hamilton out of the squad. They understand as well as anyone that Hamilton's worst career championship position, which was 6th, his first winless F1 season, and the first year since 2016 in which he was outscored by a teammate had little to do with his own efforts. Indeed, it is well acknowledged that Hamilton's career championship position was 6th. Because Hamilton and his boss Toto Wolff have often been prepared to let contract talks drag on longer than other teams might, and because they are confident in their mutual trust, this means that even if there isn't an official deal several months from now, it won't set off any alarm bells. But still, the fact that the most visible and statistically successful driver in Formula 1 isn't committed to his team beyond 2023 will be a source of interest until he is. This is true in both the general world of non-specialist media and the realm of die-hard fans. It should come as no surprise that throughout Hamilton and Wolff's press conferences at Mercedes' presentation, questions concerning Hamilton's 2024 contract were constantly raised, but several of them took an unexpected turn, posing a valid subject to discuss. That question was, to paraphrase the comments made by the media in a manner that is extremely plain, what if the car is bad again? The history of once dominant clubs that have been dethroned is a tricky one. When Red Bull's title streak from 2010 to 2013 ended, it took them nearly a decade to get back on track owing to engine problems. Yet, when Ferrari and Michael Schumacher's steamroller from 2000 to 2004 was disrupted, the team only really faced a glitch for one season, and it was mostly due to tyre regulations in 2005. Following that, they immediately recovered and competed for championships from 2006 to 2008. The fact that its dream team began to disperse as the opposition grew stronger was the fundamental reason for what has become a very long title drought, albeit 2004 did not mark the end of its competitive era entirely. Hamilton believes Mercedes is in the same position as Ferrari was in the middle of the 2000s. It's just had a dreadful season, but everything about it still screams championship caliber, so he isn't even factoring into his 2024 planning the risk of Mercedes becoming uncompetitive. When asked how much the quality of the 2023 Mercedes might affect his F1 career, he said that it was no coincidence that they had won world championships in the past, and the ability to do so will not be taken away from him suddenly or unexpectedly. He said that he has the utmost trust in everyone he's had the pleasure of knowing, and that the organization is always expanding, the factory is becoming larger, there are more departments, and new people are constantly joining. When asked immediately after the race if he thought Mercedes needed to prove its worth to him again, Hamilton responded forcefully, saying that he doesn't feel like he needs them to prove themselves. Rather, he feels that throughout the course of the years, they have proved time and time again that they have strength and depth, adding that inside the roster, they still have a lot of really talented players, and they are constantly working to improve their procedures and become more astute in how they handle things and communicate with one another. He also added that he believes that there is the best cohesion within the club that he has seen in all of these years, and that they have a very young and bright team of engineers, as well as some new members that have joined the company in the past year. The crew is presently going through a pretty exciting phase, and he has no intention of going anywhere else because, well, it's the end of the matter. Wolff's reaction to the same question was equally emphatic. Wolff said that Hamilton knows what he's got with the squad and that they've won 8 consecutive constructors titles in a row, and that they did make a mistake with their approach last year. They just need to keep growing like they did the previous season because they now already have the resources and talents. Therefore, he claims to have no reason to suppose Lewis is skeptical about the squad's capabilities, and eventually they will comply. Having said that, Hamilton said that he was starting the year 2023 with a different mindset. He had been entirely confident in Mercedes' upgrade at the second test the previous year until it became clear that the car simply couldn't work at the required ride height. He revealed that last year he was clearly bullish because they were confident that they had significant upgrades coming and he was thinking of how hard they were going to hit, but obviously it was a shock to all of us when the vehicle was uncompetitive. So he believes everyone is a lot more grounded this year and more of the perspective that they might not be the fastest out of the gate but might be closer, and hopefully they'll have the opportunity to bridge the gap early in the season. Damon Hill has also questioned Lewis Hamilton's future in Formula 1 ahead of the Britain's 17th season in the sport. Nonetheless, Hill feels Hamilton will soon have to rethink what keeps him in Formula 1. But before we look into that, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for all updates on F1. So now that you've done that, let's continue. Now, Hill, who retired from Formula 1 in 1999 at the age of 39, concedes that identifying the correct time for a driver to retire may be a tough decision to make. On the other hand, he believes Hamilton, like Fernando Alonso, has the capacity to race into his 40s if he so desires. Hill admitted that doing things right was not always easy, adding that Lewis is 38 years old, which is obviously getting on in years, but he is still as quick as he was when he was younger and as necessary. So he doesn't believe there is any physical reason that he could not continue driving far into his 40s if he felt driven to do so. Drivers nowadays take better care of themselves, and autos are equipped with power steering, so he just doesn't see why he couldn't. The fact that Fernando Alonso is still racing and recently prospering is proof of this. The question is though, why is he still here? Is the ultimate goal merely to win the 8th championship? Does this indicate he'll retire if he does it? Or does he want to keep racing simply because he enjoys it so much? Fernando Alonso also added that he couldn't picture Lewis going in circles trying to pick off podium positions, as Fernando himself has had to resign too. Meanwhile, Hill is also curious as to why Hamilton has yet to sign a new contract. Even if he and Mercedes have been insisting for months that he intends to continue, the fact is that no statement has been made as of yet, and the first race of the year was on March the 5th, meaning the season has already begun, and it prompts the question, why is that so? He also added that it appears that both parties are waiting to see how competitive Mercedes will be in the market before committing to a new arrangement, and this could be one explanation. Does Lewis believe he'll be as driven to sign a new long-term contract if they start the races in 2023 miles behind the leaders? Perhaps the team is taking their sweet time getting things done. He also added that the expense of Lewis is not insignificant. He's extremely valuable to Mercedes, but he is also extremely pricey to the firm. They have chosen a young driver alongside him, George Russell, who they believe has the ability to win a title for them if given the right car. Generally though, Lewis Hamilton said that he really doesn't think anyone outside of himself and Mercedes knows the answers to these questions, but one thing we do know is that it's a key juncture in the career of one of the sport's all-time greats. So what do you think Hamilton's future holds? Be sure to let us know in the comment section down below, and until next time.